Corey Johnson, my bro, how you doing?
Very good, man. Very
good?
good and very blessed.
Listen, pleasure to have you here. Definitely,
Pleasure to be here, bro.
thank you, man. Like, definitely one of the legends of the game. I think your story is definitely one that needs to be heard. But for those that may not know who you are, explain what you've been doing and who you are in the game.
Well, Corey Johnson, Defenders Entertainment, hashtag Entreprenegro. And I'm more or less, I guess, first and foremost, I own it. Yeah, I'm Darth Maul of the industry. So I'm the underground Jedi, the one who believes in the youths.
That's it, bro. Now, Brixton's where it all started, man. Like, Brixton was all started, born and raised in Brixton. What was it like for you growing up in Brixton?
Fun. Like, I'm from Mitesfield Estate. Like, I went to Ram Primary School. Like, we had youth centres and stuff. We went to June's Play Centre and stuff like that. So we used to go, like, trips in Margate and buy a rock and all these stuff. I don't see kids. I didn't see, last time I seen a kid with a rock in their hat, never other than a stone there who would kid to throw, you know what I mean? Like, and then through that, like, we used to have all dayers. Like, we had life, like, you know what I mean? And then I think for us growing up, it ain't like now where every estate's got a gang. Like, for us, it was like, yeah, there was one popular kid from every estate and we was the gang. And I think that's kind of the difference where, like, now, like, literally most of these young people, they're going through problems that's more or less like 2 roads away from them, when rather than the problem used to be with the other borough. Yeah, and it's kind of there. I think that's what for us. So growing up in Brixton, great, man. It was a place to be proud of, a place that, that for us, it was fun.
Definitely, man, definitely. Now, when it comes to music and entertainment, you was introduced to this industry at a very early age, like just 10 years old, when you first signed your deal with Universal, part of the group New Frontier. How did that come about?
Honestly, then it's funny that there was a government initiative that obviously we never knew anything about. They went around looking for kids in Brixton. So they said, oh yeah, you know what, we want kids can rap. Yes, go to Brixton, that kind of stereotype. You get me? But yeah, and for us, we used to just rap and sing and all that at break time. Just something we used to just do anyway. So then the teachers come and said, oh yeah, there's some guys, they want to see you perform. For what? Okay, then we done our little thing. Next thing, like, can we see your parents? Like, we're like going home like, oh, mum does not want to come to the school. Like, so no kid wants to go, mum, school wants to see you automatically. And then with the letter, like, oh, I was like, what, see me for what? I'm like, yo, there's some guys, these people have come in, they want to talk to us, they're going to give us a deal. Mom's like, what the hell? You know what I mean? The next thing we know, we're signing deals sponsored by Pony, recording music videos, and the initiative then to kind of educate young people about the greenhouse effect and ozone layer. And then fast forward how many years, like my organization this year is doing the same thing, going into schools, but every school, not just in Brixton. Like, you know what I mean? And like going into schools and then saying, yeah, okay, this is the project that we want you to do. We want young people to write a song about the climate change, self-educate themselves, work with their parents. And so, yeah, we just was young kids that they wanted to kind of use as a vessel to pass on the message. But then, yeah, really good project, shit song. But yeah, but at the time, that was my entry. So I was on Wackaday and Dance Energy. Wow. Yeah, and I learned about the business from an early age. I learned it's a very cruel, chew you up, spit you out thing. Yeah, and everybody loves you today and then tomorrow they don't. Yeah, the music business.
Looking back, you mentioned the music business. Like, looking back, like, you must have went on TV appearances, a national tour, living the life of an artist, basically. Looking back, how did that feed your passion for music? Like, how did that experience say, do you know what, music's going to be for me moving forward?
It's a double-edged sword. I think that because music was always in me, I've always had that love for music. I think if anything, then being exposed to something too early and then having something then stop or having that knockback, that makes you fall out of love of music. That makes you fall. So for me, I believe like then, yeah, that early exposure, that then made me fall out of love of music for a little while.
Okay. Fast forward, and you talk about falling out of love of music, but fast forward to your teenage years and you went into events promotion and you started putting on events, not just in the UK, but internationally as well. Had special guests like the likes of Eve and the Locks, Raw Digger. Why did you think it was important that you built your promotions brand, not just in the UK, but internationally as well? Why was it important for you to branch out?
At the time, I don't think even necessarily I thought it was just important. It was just that the opportunities was just coming our way. So I think from the circle we was in, but at the time, like, we're not following a blueprint in this industry. Like, I never had one person that I could say, bro, how does it go when you get to... So for me, the whole journey's been about being the first to do a load of things, but then not having anyone then to say, oh, well, when I get to that stage, what do I say to them or what do I do? So then, so you're gonna reach the places and you don't get to maximize, you're gonna make those mistakes. So it wasn't that it was important for me at the start. I think it was just that that's what my heart was telling me to do. So I was just following my heart, man. I was just, at the time, I think I had more money than sense. So yes, I was just following what my heart was saying and say, yeah, if I was going here, I'm going there. That's where my money's going. That's where I'm going. Like, so yeah, and then that's why I started building on events and then started getting back into the studio, found out my love for what I actually was here to do at the time, was to make music, have a voice, and start taking on other artists and seeing the vision in them, giving them the access to the studio, giving them the support that they need, giving them that confidence or that investment of the time or resources, not just money, but sometimes it might just be even putting the strings or the relationships into them. But that was the kind of my calling and introduction back into music. And then fortunate that by the time I'm looking after Blade Brown and Lady Fury and a few other artists, I've met Jenny Francis and was able then to kind of have a proper insight into the industry, because we're like underground kids that's recording our mixtapes, selling them on the streets, taking them to West End, little box, sale or return, leave the 25 CDs, ring up in a month's time hoping that yes, 1 or 2 copies are sold. People that we know obviously are giving them for free, but we just want to be heard. We ain't trying to we're making money, so we ain't thinking, yeah, this music thing's gonna make us money. We're just like, yeah, we just want to be big and popular, but we're getting money. So for us, it's just about the love of the music.
Yeah, man. And like you mentioned meeting Jenny Francis, and I personally followed your journey from Defenders Entertainment, the record label that you put together. And just following your journey, I know you've recently done an interview where you mentioned that meeting Jenny was the start of actually putting a structure in place for Defenders Entertainment. So go into more detail about that. How did Defenders come to a point where it is now?
From being like what was just like an idea and a logo, putting out music, I just wanted to learn more and more about the business. That was all. I just thought, yeah, well, okay, I'm putting out this music. Like, how do these companies get so big? What do they do? And I think this, as I just looked at each area, I just asked questions. And I think as I started asking questions, if I didn't understand, there wasn't like Google like you've got now, or Ox, Siri, or like you had to really then kind of travel and go to places. You had to then sign up to these little conventions and go and actually really go out of your way just to meet this one guy in the room out of 300 people that might give you 5 minutes. It's not like he's going to give you his DM or his WhatsApp. You can't go on his profile and look in his bio and see what he does. Look at his mutuals and say, oh, he knows what's his name, let me get at him. It was really, you had to then go and then find that one person in the room that kind of thought that they might even speak to you and then try and spark a conversation. So it was networking and just trying to get out there, man. I think that's the biggest thing. And then from there, it's gone from what was an idea to us saying, okay, we're going to do compilations, we're going to take on artist management, we're going to then look at how can we expand this as a business. But the first thing was just wanting to learn.
So fast forward to 2016, you get a call from Drake's manager. How did that happen? Yeah, how did that whole play sort of come about to the point where you got that call?
It's crazy, from my lawyer then calling me, and even after this, I'll even play you the phone call that actually then first ever heard One Dance. You know what I mean? Yeah, because I've just opened up my YouTube, started to put like old content on there and stuff. So it's one of the things that I'm gonna have on there. But it was crazy that my lawyers called me, asked me have I even heard of Drake. I'm like, yeah, like, have you heard of Drake? You know what I mean? Like, have I heard of Drake? You know what I mean? This time he ain't like commercially out there, but obviously man them know Drake. So I'm like, yeah. He goes, yeah, like he wants to speak to you now. So I'm thinking, okay, speak to me about what? He's saying, yeah, they've got a song. So I'm thinking, right, they've got a song. So I'm not thinking any which way. I'm thinking maybe they want me to get one of my boys to do a remix or do something. But nothing in my mind's thinking, oh yeah, because at the time now, like this time, everyone's buzzing over the fact that yeah, the new album's coming. So I heard girls talking about it all week long. So I kind of know, yeah, this guy's working on something. And then jumped on the phone to his manager, Future, who just explained that yeah, that they just bought the rights for Top Boy. That Drake was pissed that the Controller record was leaked out. Obviously, it wasn't Popcorn's fault, but the fact it was leaked, he was upset. He's like, yo, this dude wants that song gone. Like, he wants this record to happen. That was like a call on a Thursday. And then, like, within 3-4 days, negotiating back and forth, like, bless everyone else. Like, everyone else is like, yo, just sign the deal. I'm like, no, I'm spinning this. I'm asking for more. Like, no, man, you get me? Like, it's coming with the first offer. And I'm like, no, brother. The thing is, I feel like, because he played me the song on the phone, I'm like, rah, this sounds like it may be gonna go somewhere. I'm saying, bro, you know, I can't sell you the rights to this, you know. I need to, if it wins, it needs to win for all of us. Yeah, like my heart just told me that I don't think no worldwide hit or Drake's first #1 or his first #1 in Canada or UK alone. Like, I'm thinking, yeah, this song's gonna get heard, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm thinking about no blacks or nothing like that. That's not even in the mind. I'm just thinking, yeah, good tune. Boom, my mum will hear this one. This one, the gal am gonna wine up to this one. Yeah, we're gonna win. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. That's the pinnacle. Mum knows. You know what I mean? That was Then we're winning. Woke up Tuesday morning having a heart attack because after I've like signed the contract like on the Sunday, woke up Tuesday morning and like literally my phone's got like 10 messages. Oh, your Drake song's out. Like to like the 10 people that I even told I'm doing business, they're saying your song's out. I'm saying, wow, what do you mean my song's out? So I just didn't want to even open up the next app to even look and see who's leaked my thing now, because it's already last week had Controller leaked. So it's obviously someone in his studio. Like, I'm ready to ring, say, yo, brother, this is your people now. This ain't Popcorn them now. This is your guys. Yeah. So I reluctantly opened up the social media and saw that he was the one who was DJing the song the night before, showing people the tune in his party. Yeah, my tune's on now. Yeah, boom, like, yeah, I'm out that Friday thinking, yeah, my thing's official now. At least it's getting the release, because lots of people make songs with artists or even write songs for artists, but then having a song with them and then having it on the project and then having it released is like 10 different things. Yeah. Because even when they just love your song, they done one song tomorrow with so-and-so is the new feature, then the next 6 months all about that song. If the song blows up, they've gone around the world doing tour, and then your song's just on back burner. Before you realise it, your sound is the old sound. Yeah, it's true. So getting that cut and then actually getting that cut released, there's so much roller coaster that goes with that. Like, for a lot of producers and songwriters, I really like feel and understand that emotion, because people don't see that bit of it. It's like, yeah, and then everyone around you like, yeah, you've got the Drake song, but then it's not on the track listing, and you're like, oh. I mean, so it's then, yeah, and that's happened to millions of creatives and stuff. But yeah, next thing I know, wow, we're #1 on Friday. Like, I'm thinking, okay, this is crazy, but it's International Release Day. So when we're looking at #1, I'm ringing my mum, everyone, yeah, gas, we're #1 UK and everything. Then my phone's banging off from my lawyer. He's like, yo, you know you're #1 on the billboards. I'm like, what? He said, you know you're #1 in this place. I'm like, what? Like, oh, now I'm confused. I'm thinking, oh, this doesn't even make sense. What do you mean I'm #1 everywhere? And yeah, literally then as a original label, publisher, and as a writer on that record, yeah, I've been fortunate to be the first one to have a worldwide platinum record from the whole of our industry, the first one to have a #1 on the Billboard charts, let alone for 10 consecutive weeks. Fortunate to have own the rights to the third longest running single in UK music history. So for 15 consecutive weeks, so more than like your Whitney Houston and your Bryan Adams and the stuff that my mom's listens to. Yeah, and I feel like I'm just warming up, brother. I feel like I got work to do, you know what I mean? Like, so.
Listen, man, big up yourself, man, because that's a massive achievement. And I don't think it's something that gets talked about enough. But I just want to take a step back and pick up on something that you mentioned around, like, how important was it for you to have your business correct, bro? Because, you know, Drake, a worldwide superstar, normally in this situation, the independent label like yourself gets the wrong end of the stick. So how did you go about making sure that, you know what, if this is going to go where I think it's going to go, my business is going to be correct to the point I'm going to receive the correct residuals for this project?
Yeah, I think the first and foremost is don't be shy to ask. If you don't ask, you don't get. I think that's the first and foremost. But for me, I've done like a lot of research years and years ago where it wasn't really cool to then handle your business. But I just felt like, yeah, follow my heart and do that. So I set up my publishing company years ago. Like I set up my label and things, like I registered for PRS and stuff years ago, had agreements. Like the first 10 years, I didn't have any agreements. I didn't have my business handled. I was just going through it. I was learning on the job. So I was making loads of mistakes. I was then going through it. But then as time got by, as you learn better, do better. So as I started to learn, I just started to take things a bit more seriously. And that was years before then with Drake come along or things happening. For me, the biggest thing was that when everything happened with One Dance, most people don't know the reason why they didn't see me was because my little sister passed away. So I had my biggest blessing in the world and my biggest heartbreak. So for 2 years, I was just grieving and in my own place. And that's when you really get to see your real friends. You get to see the real industry. You get to see the real people that will even take that and then they're running with it and they're doing what they're doing. Or you'll see the people that will come in and say, okay, you know what, Corey, make sure you got your business handled. Or because yeah, I see Lady Leisha saying the same thing the other day. Like she had a recent loss and the same thing for her. Like she get to see who's really real. So for me, it was, yeah, such a big thing to have my business handled. But the main thing for any of us creatives is just knowing who's around you and making sure you look after your energy. That's before even your business, because ultimately that's what's going to allow you to see your business.
You're down in the history books. You know, as you mentioned, third biggest single in all of UK chart history, #1 in over 20 countries, Drake's first ever #1 as an artist. If this was Puff, if this was Dr. Dre, if this was Jimmy Iovine, we would be waxing lyrical about it for years to come. Why do you think that the executive or the music producer is not celebrated as much as it is in the UK? Because the US, like for example, you've got DJ Khaled, you've got all sorts of people and they're celebrated as if they were the artists. Why do you think in the UK it's not like that?
Honestly, if I be honest without even having to point fingers, we need to let go of the barrel of crabs mentality. That's the long and short of it. That's why the UK isn't as big as it is. I think that before, I definitely would have a different approach towards them dealing with situations and stuff like that. But ultimately, I think that's our biggest thing is that we've got this one-up mentality out here, but nobody's getting up. So while everyone's trying to get one up on each other, it's like, yeah, together you both could get up. And I think that's the difference that we've got here. So for most people that would then see what someone else doing and see that as, yeah, that's an ally, over here our mentality is you see that person doing and they become competition or a threat. So the mentality is wrong out here. The business is good, mentality is wrong.
Yeah, man, I think it's something that, you know, hopefully with the scene that is at the moment, we're starting to make tiny breakthroughs. But yeah, I think we've definitely got a long way to go to just celebrate everyone and what they're doing. Man.
Yeah, I think more than celebrating, I think the first thing is then working together. But like I said to you, like the difference even between us and America is most of the brothers that are even in this industry, I only could refer to them because it's them that I know from my community or them that I see that's not helping my community or even others that they know, they don't own their own plantation. So they're not in a position to help. It's not their fault. They ain't the boss. They're an employee. They can get sacked tomorrow. So when you're looking at an employee and you're saying, employ me, he's not the boss. So it's hard for him to then do that. So I don't blame them if they're not the boss.
Makes sense, man. Moving slightly forward, Centric Music Publishing, you signed a joint venture deal with them. How did that come about, where you decided to take on that JV?
Really, Peter McCanley, his sister Celia, she used to run Giffen Records with Gary Barlow. So it's them that like signed like your Agro, Santos, your Saturdays. Like they was giving me remixes and works when I'm just like a kid on the street. So I'd always had mad ratings for them because yeah, I didn't have the business acumen or the office, big office or anything like that. But they still was them breaking bread because they like just like the energy in that. So I'd always had like people in the industry, yeah, that are bosses that could sign checks that I'd always then felt. And then when the opportunity came up to then pick any publisher, I just didn't want to go with a publisher that everyone else was doing. There's a lot of monkey see, monkey do. So for me, I was like, who's doing something different? I think they was the only ones who had like the core service, which is more or less like pay-as-you-go publishing, where anybody can then be published and collect the royalties that they're owed and that's entitled to them. And more than anything, they just wasn't in London in the usual little circles and little boys club. I'm like, yo, I don't want to be in that. I wanted to have something that I thought was a bit more genuine, a bit more just honest and open. Because like I said, yeah, I didn't want to put myself in the barrel with the crabs.
Makes sense. And I know when you first signed the deal and you sort of committed on signing the deal, one of the things that attracted you to Centric was their 28-day contract model. It's not something I'm familiar with, but can you just explain sort of what that is and how that's going to help people moving forward?
Yeah, when I say pay-as-you-go publishing, the first and foremost is that publishing, when you get a publishing deal, your publishing deal needs to be triggered. Why a publisher would want to give you a publishing deal. What would trigger that publishing deal is that you're either written a big song for somebody, you've now got a record label where they're going to put a big budget into you, so you've got a record label committed to you, or you've then maybe done a song which has been synced for an advert or something, so you're guaranteed money. Until you're guaranteed money, you're not being offered a publishing deal with an advance. So you'll keep on putting out music, you'll keep on doing shows, you'll keep on putting stuff on YouTube, on SoundCloud, you'll have music that's played on spot plays on radio, but unless other than your streams, all of them royalties that you're generating, none of that's coming to you unless you're either a PRS member or you're published. And even if you're a PRS member, you still need to do the admin around that to make sure you get your money from around the world, because PRS is only collecting your UK money. Right. When you have a publisher, the publisher then can collect the money that you're generating around the world. Because of the internet, people are streaming you from around the world. So where you're only then registered in one territory, you're only getting that money from one country. When you have a publisher, they then have registrations in every territory, every country. They're scraping in that pot and making sure it comes to you. Centric is the only company that, even if you haven't written a song for Stormzy or you haven't then produced a song for Drake or whatever not, you as a musician, a performer or a writer can sign up with them without signing a contract. There's no fee. Upload your music, tell them where you performed, and they'll scrape in the money that's owed to you. That money maybe go to a man that literally needs that £50 or that £80 to pay his phone bill. That phone call then what got him the feature, go to the studio that day, or he then boom gave that money to mum didn't kick him out. Then the following week he was then had the roof over his head for him to go to the show and got that big open. It's a more or less a step in the whole step of sequence of events, you know what I mean? And for Centric Music, they're the only one who then really caters for that. So when you look on it on a scale of like how many artists are signed every year or producers signed every year, maybe about 0.001%. So everybody else needs their money. So for me, that was the first thing, that the 28 days model means that even if you never get signed, if you're generating royalties, you're making money on Spotify, your streaming numbers on YouTube, SoundCloud, you're performing at a licensed venue, that money's your money, that money's owed to you, then Centric be getting that money for you.
Yeah, man, and I think it's interesting because I saw when you went on For the Culture podcast, Big Them Up, and you said, big them up, man. And one of the things that you said was artists are obsessed with getting a deal when they really need to be obsessed with getting a good deal. And that Centric model that you talked about sounds like along those lines. It sounds like it's a good deal for artists moving forward.
For artists and producers, that might be the only deal. So the time they're sitting down there saying, yeah, I'm gonna wait until this publisher signs me, the money goes round after a couple of years and goes into the main pot, it goes into funding, so it's no longer accessible to you even as a writer or composer anyway. Because PRS and PP are non-profit organizations, so they ain't allowed to profit and have shareholders. So they give out the money for funding. So your money that you're generating goes to somebody else.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, this information is invaluable, and I'm sure for any artist coming into the game, these are the type of things that they need to know, and it's part of the reason why that I wanted you to do this interview, because this knowledge is pivotal for artists moving forward. I want to change track a bit and talk about Rolling with the Nines. Because I think it's safe to say that Rolling with the Nines is...
Shout out Biggs and Picky, you know.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, especially Biggs, man. Biggs don't get the credit he's supposed to get, man. But yeah, shout out Biggs, man. He knows, he's the foundation, man. So he knows, he doesn't get mentioned enough. But he's a foundation and put a lot of that whole north side of the movement and everything. Yeah, it's Biggs in the team.
I mean, I was going to say, man, it's like, it's probably one of the first urban black British films that's based on our culture that was out there.
It was the first, and it's independent as well. I think that's the biggest thing. It was the first and the only independent. The only other movie, like I keep saying to people, that has never been released that I feel was slightly better, even though it wasn't nothing to do with it, was done by the Love and Money Boys then from over east. But Breaking the Cycle, that was an amazing movie, just never got released. But Rolling with the Nines was the first. We went a bit crazy even with the amount of people killed and effects but when you got more money than sense, you're gonna make a mega movie.
Yeah, like, why not, man? And I was gonna ask, like, at that point, like, you're an artist, you're a music producer, you've been in events. What about acting appealed to you? Why did you feel the need to get into that sort of lane?
Man, them always want to be famous. You get them trying to say, everyone want to be Al Pacino. You get me? So everyone in their mum wanted to be in the movie. You get me? But no, I think that it's something that I always had a passion for. You know what I mean? It's something that I'm still there, and I've had offers. I'm going to return to doing some stuff on screen. Not going to make music anymore, but for me, it's just talks and doing things like acting and stuff. You'll be seeing me in a few things. I just won't bait up. My agent will be upset with me right now. But we're talking at the moment still.
Perfect, man. We'll be looking forward to it, man. So definitely looking out for that. And that kind of brings me on to my next point. As an entrepreneur, you very rarely do you have entrepreneurs that are just focused on one thing, and they have different interests and they have different things that they're interested in. How did you not get yourself into like a box? Like, how did you sort of fight the people that said, Corey, you're just a music producer, you just do music, or Corey, you're just an artist, you just do artists? Like, how did you get into acting, get into management, business? How did you fight those people that said that?
Just looking for new money, new opportunities. Like, even earlier on I heard Sham say, like, literally, if I'd focus on one thing, believe me, I'd be so much further. But like every year or two, if I then found this new business or industry and I then learned how it worked, I want to take it apart and put it back together, take it apart and put it back together again. I think from sometimes even having those doors, if you then come against those brick walls and you have to go and find another way around it, or if you then come to somewhere you feel like you can't then go any further on the journey, you need to find a new source of energy or petrol. In them blocking me, they just made me find a lot of different sources. So now that it can't be stopped, but that's how, really, if anything, I think it came from people then trying to put up barriers. You find another route, and then they put up another barrier, you find another route, and then another route, and then I learned how to break down barriers and find routes.
One thing that I know you're passionate about is working with young people and the youth. And you run an independent youth charity called CYO, Community Youth London. Talk to me about that. What is Community Youth London doing at the moment? Why did you decide to take it upon yourself to set up a charity?
When I set up CYO, it was really just because young people kept coming to the studio all the time looking for something to do, and they didn't want this free studio. Like, they wanted to help, they wanted to be involved, wanted to learn. And it's like, right, this isn't structured, this don't have a... And at the time, everyone's like, yeah, man, we can get your funding, man, you know, this, man, and that. I was like, oh, brother, I don't want to take the money and mess it up. Let me just learn this a little bit more. And as I started going along, I just became a service provider by default. It wasn't that I thought, oh yeah, this is what I'm going to... We're not taught how to be service providers. We're not taught how to then get on the preferred providers list or to PO numbers or anything like that. I had the studio for like 3 years. I didn't even have public or employee liability insurance. I didn't know what that was. So it's like, yeah, as we're learning and going along, I'm like, okay, we need to have an organisation. This needs to be something that's proper. And even though I was investing my own money, I just wanted it to have transparency. So I was like, okay, what's the most transparent way? And it was like, oh, charity, but don't do charity, man, it's this and that. And I said, oh, brother, if I'm going to spend my money on the youths, I'm going to do what I'm setting out to do. There's nothing to then hide away from. That's why we don't have as many black charities as we should do, because no one wants to be open, but we need openness, we need clarity. So I said, okay, let me put into that. And then over the years, we just learnt different stuff. Till now, we're delivering accredited media courses for free within hubs. We're franchising the studios, so we're building them in different areas and cities. Where so far we've got 17 boroughs that are then working together with the schools, the youth organisations, the faith groups, the parents, the community leaders, the influencers. They're working together to set up safe zones where they know each other, where young people within that area know that, yeah, this is a safe place for me to be. Everybody knows each other, because a lot of it is just that young people feel like the guy next door or the shop next door doesn't know their mum or doesn't know their cousin or their uncle, so they feel where that community spirit's gone. So yeah, and with the knife amnesty, the three most important things with that is, one, just getting rid of the extra knives that are in the home, because that's where most of these kids are getting these knives from. And I'm not talking about these young adults, I'm talking about like school kids, where the problem's really starting from. Two, the parents need to then be the homeowner. You're not the tenant, like you're the homeowner. Like or if you are the tenant, you're the parent. So walk 100 yards outside your front door and make sure that this kid isn't stashing something on your doorstep. If they are, this is your home. You're the one who's paying the rent. And thirdly, like, I'm gonna raise some money to actually put some amnesty bins in every borough, because they're not there, and the price that certain departments are asking for them is quite high, but they need to be there. So that's three simple things, man. Get rid of the extra knives, know what's in and around your house, and yeah, and then if you can, no matter what it is, and especially for the larger companies or the celebrities, like, yeah, you'll see these boroughs, them get cleaned up. There's a simple 3-step plan, so somebody has to get on with it. So I guess it must be me. We've been complaining since slavery days, man. We can go to church and complain, or we can just get up and do something about it. I'm on this action and do something about it, and work together. I think that's a massive thing, is that there isn't that working together. And so if me then, supposedly Darth Maul, the most unapproachable, if I'm then saying, yeah, work together, there isn't an excuse.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You talked about the kids. The main problem is the teenagers, and the kids is the root of the problem. Not having, I know you've talked about in the past about not having spaces to be creative or to express themselves. And I know, you talked about CYL sort of franchising studios, putting on media courses, which is certainly definitely going to help the solution moving forward. What advice would you give to any young person, not just an artist, but any young person who may want to either get into a music industry or any industry of interest? What advice would you give to them at this point?
Firstly, just before even giving them the advice, there's some really great organisations that are providing stuff in and around the other support that young people need. So as far as I'm a great advocate for music and entertainment, it's what I'm then a part of as far as an industry. The mental health support, the financial literacy, just the careers advice, the other skills and guidance that are then massive parts of this integral kind of plan, and they're integral parts of this plan. Yeah, literally those services are also a very big key part of the hub and what we're franchising. So having that can draw them in is a part of it. But definitely without those other support services, then yeah, the problem for these young people and even their parents at home isn't just about throw money at them or yeah, just take away the knives or just give them music. It's the support, especially for their mental health, for trauma, and for other issues in and around society. So firstly, no. For the young people trying to get into an industry, my first thing for them is just do something you're passionate about. Something you'll get up and do every day just because you enjoy it. It's not do what this one looks like it's making him money. That don't necessarily work for you. Don't say, oh yeah, he's rapping, doing these things, I'm gonna be a rapper. Like, no, you was gonna be a rapper before you even cared it made money. You was gonna be a graphic designer before you cared about it making money, or a gardener, because naturally it's something you just enjoy doing. And I think a lot of the time we then kind of stray from what we're naturally talented at and what we're gifted with, and then follow what somebody else is doing. when really another man's dream can become your nightmare.
No, that's powerful, man. Another man's dream can become your nightmare. That's powerful. I want to look forwards to the future, man. I want to look forwards. I want to talk about defenders. I know you're in the midst of getting the roster together, getting the new roster together. At this point, for someone who's been there, seen it all, over the years, and what would attract you to someone where you say, do you know what, I want to work with this person? What would you looking for the defenders?
Away from them being something different, it's energy. I think that's the biggest thing. I think for me, throughout this whole roller coaster, through times when I've then had opportunities but then not maximised, or I've then seen when I've really then killed it, it's always been the one thing that's been consistent. It's been about how my energy is, or how the energy around me is. So first and foremost, energy, because art is like baking a cake. You could have the songs, you could have the looks and all the rest of it, but you could have all the ingredients, but no egg, it's not cake. No sugar, not cake. So yeah, you got something, maybe biscuit, but it's not cake. You get me? So I'm like, yeah, so energy's that's the sweetener for me, that's the sugar. Yeah, I don't like bland stuff. So yeah. Have to have sugar, I got a sweet tooth. Yeah, so energy is the one important ingredient for me. The rest of it can come, because you can get a songwriter, you can get a producer, you can get a stylist. Yeah, nowadays you can buy anything. You've seen these girls on the gram. But energy, yeah, that's the one thing that's priceless. So yeah, I work with energy before anything. The rest we can package.
Definitely, man. And any young aspiring artist, take that on board, man. Energy is key, and I think it's important to have authentic energy.
Yeah, of course. Now, yeah, this new school, they think that energy isn't then tell me, yeah, uncle, and all that. I don't want to hear all of that. They want to tell me, yes, and all that. Like, I can see you, I can see what it is. You know in your heart, even when you're saying, yeah, uncle, it's not really that. Like, so allow it, no bother with all of that. And if you feel definitely, yeah, it's uncle, I can feel it. I get a warm little tingly. Yeah, I feel like a kid. Yeah, so it's energy, yeah. Not what you feel that, is coming up. Because a lot of this new school, they feel like they've got to tell you what you want to hear. Yeah, when sometimes what you want to hear is just the truth.
Makes sense, man. I want to finish off by talking about the music scene in general. I think...
What, the Wild Wild West?
Yeah. I think it's safe to say that you're someone who's a visionary in the game, someone who sees trends before that they hit us. We've just entered a new decade, and then I think everyone would agree that we're making strides in terms of the UK music scene.
Massively.
Where do you think we can be, or where do you think we will be at the end of the next decade, or this decade?
One of two places.
Okay.
Demolition Man.
For those that are old school, Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, look it up, man. Where's this?
Those are old school.
Our new school translation, everything popped down. Man, they were happy I was running around scrambling for a bottle of water. And literally then you've got the very small selects that, they're living the best life, very best life. And then good 95% ain't. And that's not just because of Brexit and all the rest of it. I'm talking about us economically, business-wise, us missing the boat and then not capitalising. And then when that ship sailed, then, because it's the 5th time I've seen this gold rush. It's the 5th time I've seen that, they love us, they want us, they're signing us, and then it's dead. Same like it was with Garage, the same like it was with Grime, same like it was with Funky House. This is gonna last forever, and it didn't. So either there, just because we don't then build this infrastructure and we kind of miss this trick, and then we're gonna have to find a new sound and a new wave that catches the world, which is very hard. Like you've seen how over this, it takes every few years, luckily, to get one. And or otherwise, with the right mentality, the right building, people actually changing their mentality. Wow, we're at the beginning of the Puff Daddy and Jay-Z era. We've just left the NWA and Public Enemy era. But to see man and get their colourful shirts, get their little moves on, doing their little thing, all of a sudden, well, he could dance. Yeah, he could dance the whole time. He'd just be waiting, see a couple of these rappers on Strictly Come Dancing. You get me? Like we're going there with it. Yeah. Dancing on ice, all of that. I can see them and them now, going leaning on the ice, all of that. Yeah. Standardly, we're going there with it. If we get our mind right, we get entertainment, we engross and actually then maximize from this culture, because that's what the reality of it is that about maximizing business-wise from this culture. And there could be and there will be a massive change, but there needs to be a lot of people benefiting rather than just a few.
Yeah, man. Well, bro, it's been an honor to sit down with you. I think definitely to big up yourself.
I'm just warming up, man. I ain't done nothing yet, man. Just warm up time. I just stretched a few bits. I've stretched a few muscles. Anyone who thought, oh yeah, I think, nah. I've just warmed up. I feel like there's so much more to do, man. To be honest with you, so I'm humbly grateful. Yeah, but loads more to do.
And we're looking forward to the next moves as well. For anyone that's interested in the Defenders Hub, CYL or anything else that you're doing, where can they find you? Where can they reach out to you?
Finally using social media properly, so everything's Corey Johnson UK, from the website, the YouTube, the Insta and the Twitter. And then the other companies, well, hashtag the regime, really, because that's what you're on there. You'll find Digital Holdings, you'll find Defenders, Entertainment and Community Youth London, like CYL, where developing and helping young people. And then now there's loads of new businesses now, so new companies, new ventures that are out there doing some exciting things. I think the most of them are most excited about is Need More Football and OTTV.